Hi everybody, good morning. I'm Mike with SuccessToolChest.com and FindAMentor.com. Welcome to this week's Help Me Communicate, where I help you become a better communicator. This week in Help Me Communicate, I'm going to talk about interviewing people using personality discovery questions to make sure that you hire that right person for your team. Building your team is the most important thing that you can do as a leader. Your team determines the level of success that you achieve as a leader. So, does your team gel in all the right areas? Do they complement each other? Is there somebody that's not pulling their weight? If they're not complementing each other, if there's somebody who's not pulling their weight or somebody that's kind of causing a virus, it's time to make a change. And don't hesitate to make that change. When I was building my cellular phone stores, one of the things that was really hard for me to learn how to do was to fire people because they weren't the right fit for the team. And I hesitated at first, and it took me a while to get good at making that decision to fire somebody. But once I got good at it, it made a huge difference. And remember that it takes time to build a team. Now, I built the business from the trunk of my car to 3 stores and $3 million in annual sales. And it took me about 3 years to get to the point where I actually opened my first store and hired some salespeople. And what I did, because I hadn't hired a lot of salespeople in the past, was I actually hired a consultant to help me build that initial team of 4 or 5 people. And then once we got that initial team built, and it made a big difference to hire that coach and consultant to help me with that process. And then as we made those adjustments, I only had to replace 1 or 2 people a year, if even sometimes less than that. But it made a big difference, and it was easier to hire 1 at a time than to hire the whole team. Having said that, there was one situation where we hired a strong sales guy, and within 6 months, he was in the top performers in the province in our network sales group. There was many different store owners and different stores throughout the province, and this guy rose right to the top in the first 6 months. But he caused havoc among the rest of the team. His sales weren't clean. It caused a lot of extra work for customer service people or for co-sales people that had to clean up his messes because he wasn't around when the customers came in to complain. And I found that it actually hindered the team and brought the overall sales of the company down, even though he was the top sales guy in the province. So we got rid of him. And it's kind of funny because after I got rid of him, I got a call from one of my colleagues who owned other stores in different parts of the city. And we kind of had an agreement. I had stores in one part of the city. He had stores in the other part of the city. And we kind of had an agreement that we wouldn't hire each other's or poach each other's good salespeople unless they approach that person on their own or we let them go. And so I got a call from my colleague, and Charlie says to me, he says, "Oh, hey Mike, you fired Fred. Why'd you do that? He's a great sales guy." I said, "Well, Charlie, he's having a negative effect on the entire work group, and his sales aren't that clean, and so it just wasn't worth it for me." He says, "Do you mind if I hire him?" I said, "No, but keep that in mind that it could cause havoc." And so he hired him, and in fact, he caused havoc, and within 6 months, he fired him as well. So what we want to do is uncover those weak traits in our interview so we don't hire and we avoid those pains of hiring the wrong person. And so how do you do that? Well, the best way to do that is to plan your interview. First thing you want to do is be very clear on what you want this team member to, how you want them to contribute and what you want them to be. So write out specifically what are all the hard skills that you want this person to have. Depending on the position, hard skills are different. Computer skills are hard skills. Sales skills, in fact, are hard skills if you're hiring a salesperson. If you're hiring a tradesperson, there's specific skills that tradespeople need to have. Those are called hard skills. Soft skills are things like ability to communicate effectively, ability to resolve conflict, things like reliability, things like confidence and resilience, and those kind of things are soft skills. They're personality traits that we want to uncover, and you want to know exactly what type of personality traits you want this person to have. what skills you want them to have, and be very specific. And then design your interview questions around those skills and personality traits that you want this person to have. Again, be specific. Write down exactly what you want in the team member, what type of soft skills you want, what type of hard skills you want, and then plan your interviews, plan your questions to uncover those skills. And the personality discovery questions that I ask are open-ended. Now, these are the most important things to uncover, in my opinion, because attitude is everything. Skills we can train people on, and if skills need to be fine-tuned, we can send them to courses, or we can train them with our mentors in the company and that kind of thing. But soft skills are hard to change. People don't change their soft skills easily without lots of courses. And so what we want to do is we want to uncover what those skills are. So here's some open-ended questions that I ask to uncover personality traits and uncover situations or how people deal with specific situations and that kind of thing. Now, I start most of my interview questions with, tell me about a time when, and then I'll embellish that. So I'm going to give you 15 different questions that you can ask to uncover personality traits right now. Tell me about a time when you had a conflict with a coworker. What specifically happened? How did you handle it? What was their response? And then sit down or zip it and be quiet and listen. And hopefully they'll respond without too much more prompting. But prompt, you want them to answer this question, and you want specific examples of what happened. Tell me about a time when you had an irate customer. How did you resolve the issue? What happened specifically? What were the biggest challenges that you faced in your previous position? And listen to that. Tell me about a time when you disagreed with your boss on a process. What happened? And how did you resolve that? Did you end up doing what he said he told you to do, or she told you to do? Or did you do it your own way? And then what was the outcome? Tell me about a time when you were inappropriately corrected in a work situation. What specifically happened, and how did you handle it? What was the outcome? Tell me about the boss that you had that you most respected, and why? Tell me about the boss that you had that you least respected, and why? Tell me about a time when you were late for work. What happened? How did you handle it? How did your supervisor handle it? What did they say to you? Tell me about a process or a procedure that you put into place that improved the efficiencies or accuracies of the job that you were doing. And listen to these responses. Tell me about a time when you had to rely on a coworker to complete a project. What happened? How did you communicate with that person? How did you get them on board? How did you work as a team? Tell me about your teamwork processes. Tell me about a time when you failed to complete a task on time. What happened? Why did that happen? And how did you resolve it? How did you get through the situation? Tell me about a time when you, tell me what interests you about this job. Why are you applying for this job? What interests you most about it? What was your reason for leaving your last position? Why did you leave? Are you flexible? Are you willing to do more than one thing? Are you only wanting to do specifically what's in this job description? Things like, we understand that people learn in different ways. What kind of learner are you? Do you learn best by just listening? Do you learn best by reading? Do you learn best by being shown specifically what to do? Tell me what I need to do to help you learn so that you can succeed in this job. As your supervisor, what do I need to do? How do you learn? So those are the kind of questions that you want to ask. And in asking those open-ended type of questions, you'll find that you'll discover a little bit about how this person deals with the difficult situations or complicated situations that might come up in the position that you're hiring them for. Now, think about the position, the different challenges that come up in that position, and then ask questions about how that person would handle those challenges, and specifically ask for examples of how they've handled those type of challenges in the past. And then sit back and listen. Now, I want you to watch, at the same time, watch for their body language. If they're sitting there closed up and tight, and that tells me that they're not that open to new suggestions and new ideas. If they're fidgety and nervous, sometimes people are fidgety and nervous in an interview, but when you actually go into work, they're fine. So some of those things you have to take into consideration. And if you're really not sure, call them in for a second interview, have a co-manager sit in on the interview with you, and get their opinion. Another really, really important part of hiring, and I'm going to extend this beyond the interview question, is to check references. The most important thing you can do is to verify that this person is actually telling you the truth. So after you've done the interview and you've uncovered these different personality traits or your opinions on their personality traits, when you're phoning their references, verify some of those stories. Also, it's very important in checking references. Sometimes people just give you personal references. Those aren't adequate, in my opinion. I don't give a lot of weight to personal references unless it's an individual that's never had a job before. You're hiring a young teenager or somebody that's just coming out of school and it's never worked. Having said that, if they're coming out of college and they haven't worked at even a part-time job, that's a big flag for me. I want to hire people that have work experience. And if somebody's had work experience and they're a good worker, they'll have good past work references. So I always ask for references of past supervisors in a work environment. And that's the references that I want to talk to. And you have to be careful. Sometimes people will give you cell phone numbers. I've had situations where I've kind of doubted the responses that I've got from the reference, and the things didn't quite feel right. So I phoned the past employer. And I just say, this person's applied for work. I'm verifying that they actually work for you and what that time frame was. And in doing that, I have found situations where neither the reference nor the person applying actually worked for that company. That's happened. I've also found situations where the time frames are inaccurate. And if the information that I'm getting from a past employer is not congruent with what I've learned in the interview or what was written on the person's resume, that's a huge flag for me, and most times it's an immediate no. So checking past work references and comparing them to the responses that you got in your interview and what was written on their resume is absolutely critical. Don't make the decision to hire somebody because they've said all the right things unless you verify that those things are true. And if you're a little bit doubtful, but you really want to hire this person because he's got all the experience or she's got all the experience, but you still have a little doubt in your gut, then call them in for a second interview, have a co-manager sit in with you and get their opinion. Mastermind the process. Two minds are always better than one when making decisions and getting different opinions. I call that masterminding. So do that. So let's do a quick review. First of all, hiring your team is the most important thing that you can do as a leader. And that team will determine your success as a leader. Secondly, when you don't be afraid to make a change. If the team's not gelling, if there's a virus on the team, or if somebody's not pulling their weight, make the change, because that energy of the negative person brings the whole team down, and it really has a negative effect on the long-term goals and objectives of you and your team members. So make the changes and build the team that gels together. Decide exactly what you want in traits, personality traits, and in hard skills for this person. Write it out and then plan your interview questions around exactly the type of person you're looking for, the exact type of hard skills they have, the exact type of personality, soft skills they have. And design your questions around those. And then ask open-ended questions. I'm going to run through these 15, 16 questions again. Tell me about a time when you had a conflict with a coworker. What happened? How did you handle it? Tell me about a time you had an irate customer. What happened? And how did you handle it? What were the biggest challenges you faced in your last job? Tell me about a time you disagreed with your boss. What happened? How did it resolve? How did you respond to that? Tell me about a time you were inappropriately corrected at work. What did you do? How did you resolve it? What happened? Tell me about the boss that you had that you most respected. Tell me about the boss that you had that you least respected. Tell me about a time you were late for work. What happened? How did you handle it? How did your boss handle it? Or tell me about a time you missed the day's work. Tell me about a process or procedure that you put into place to improve the efficiency or accuracy of a job you were doing. Tell me about a time you had to rely on a coworker to complete a project. How did that go? How did the teamwork work? How did you coach them? Tell me about a time when you failed to complete a task on time. What happened? How did you resolve it? What was the outcome? What interests you most about this job that you're applying for right now? What was your reason for leaving your last position? Are you flexible? Are you willing to do more than one job? And Ask. We understand that people learn in different ways. What kind of learner are you? Do you learn it easiest by being shown what to do? Do you learn easiest by reading? Do you learn easiest by being told what to do and just by listening? How can I help you succeed in this position as your boss? Tell me how you learn. So those are the different personality discovery questions that you can ask when you're interviewing people to make sure that you build that right team to help you succeed, because your team is a direct reflection of you as a leader, and how you adjust that team is critical to your success and the success of your people. Remember, as a leader, you want to give your people the tools that they need to succeed, and when you do that, the whole team succeeds. Don't hesitate to make that change. Check your references when you're hiring somebody, and don't just check personal references. Check past employment supervisor references. And if somebody can't give you those, that's a big flag, probably not to hire them right off the bat. So I hope you enjoyed today's Help Me Communicate, and I hope you got something out of it. Please like our page here, like our posts. Check out successtoolchest.com. We have online training programs to help you become a great communicator, to help you get through those conflict situations that arise in life, to give you the tools that you need to navigate difficult conversations and crucial conversations and difficult situations. You go out and make it an awesome day. Check out successtoolchest.com, like our page, and we'll see you next week for Help Me Communicate. Bye for now.